The next sense is clear seeing. And the French word for this is clairvoyance. A lot of people get this mixed up. They think that clairvoyance means you can see spirits or talk to spirits. That's mediumship. That is a gift. That is not a spiritual sense. Spiritual senses can work with spiritual gifts. Another thing that people think that clear seeing or clairvoyance means is future telling, fortune telling, telling the future, predicting, prophecy, precognition. They think that that's what it means, but it's not. All of those things are spiritual gifts. They're not spiritual senses. Again, spiritual senses can work with spiritual gifts. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, this is how it works. So this is usually more common with visual learners. So in your mind, you would see pictures. You might even like see a symbol or picture a metaphor. You might have a lot of visions. Like these could even be waking visions. Like you're sitting there and in your mind's eye, I'm not talking about your seeing with your physical eye. Like in your mind's eye, whether you have your eyes open or not, you can see things with your mind, whether it's a picture or a vision or an image or almost like a movie playing out in your mind's eye. You might also have a lot of dreams that you can remember when you wake up. You might even daydream a lot. Also things that you could see, like if you pick up on this, like you just think of a color, like if depending on the question, you might just think of color or a symbol. Also, some people with this spiritual sense can see spirits. They can see auras around a person, or they can see scenarios playing out. So it can be seen with either your spiritual, like your mind's eye, or your physical eyes. So any of these things, either spiritual or physical eyes. So an example of this would be you receive an instant analogy in your mind. You know, oh, it's kind of like this when you're listening to someone or when you're reading something or whatever it is. You might have visuals and visions come to mind during your waking hours, and you might be able to see light and energy with your physical eyes, such as being able to read auras. Now, the benefits is it's easy to share, like especially if you're just out in the open, like, yeah, I'm clairvoyant, you know. It's easy to share, and it can give evidence to other people. It tends to be glamorized a lot, especially some of these YouTube influencers that I see online. It tends to be really glamorized. And in fact, clairvoyance, sometimes people just take that to mean psychic, like, you're just psychic, but that doesn't do justice to the spiritual sense, because it's one of 10 spiritual senses, and you can have any of the 10 senses and be considered psychic. So psychic is just another way of saying intuitive, because I mean, it's psychic energy. It's energy you cannot see. Sometimes you can with your physical eyes, but you know what I'm saying? Like there's all types of ways to be psychic or be intuitive. So the challenge with clear seeing is discernment and interpretation of what you're seeing. So if you saw a symbol or you saw an animal, you're like, I don't know what that means. You might have to do a little bit of research to find out what is the symbolism of this animal or this color. Now, this one happens to me all the time. Like when I'm helping, clients with branding or with marketing, sometimes what happens is I'll see a scenario playing out. I'll see a marketing campaign unfold before my eyes, or I'll see specific colors for that person or a certain logo or a graphic or something like that. And so it happens all the time. Or like, let's say there's a blog or something that I'm writing and I'm like, I have this image of the perfect graphic or perfect photo that would go with that particular blog post. So I used to think this is pretty normal. Like I used to think everyone could do this until I hired some copywriters and they couldn't choose pictures to save themselves. Like they couldn't. And so this is definitely more specific to people who tend to be more visual learners. And if you relate to any of this, just know that not everyone thinks like you do. The other thing is you can get lost in the visuals and struggle to find meaning. So you might see something in your mind's eye, your physical eyes, and you don't really know what it means. And so I just encourage you to play with it. Like one time I had a dream. I mean, I have dreams all the time, but this particular dream seems so important. So I actually wrote down the entire dream and then decoded everything. Not just the symbols and what I saw, but like, why did I see this? Why was this related to this? Like, it was very specific questions to get a more granular meaning. And sometimes things like that are very necessary to do.